Hello everyone. Welcome back to another reading of the Centric Whitepaper. This is part 3 and we'll get right into it. We'll start with the title again. Centric is a dual cryptocurrency network designed for low volatility and predictable returns. Cryptocurrency just got reliable. And we'll go ahead and move through the disclaimers really quickly and then get right back into the white paper. Again, the white paper was last updated the 14th of August, 2021. Risk factors of buying Centric Rise and Centric Swap tokens, along with other disclaimers, are included at the end of this white paper. And we'll flip back there now to the disclaimer. This document is not a prospectus and does not constitute nor implies a prospectus of any sort. No wording contained within this document should be construed as a solicitation for investment. Accordingly, this white paper does not pertain in any way to an offering of securities in any jurisdiction worldwide whatsoever. Rather, this white paper constitutes a technical description of the functionality of the Centric ecosystem and the creation, development, and deployment of the Centric Rise token, the Centric Swap token, and the Centric ecosystem. Before investing, you should seek independent financial advice. And if you read through the description notes, you'll see some additional links as well as another description at the bottom. But with that, we'll go ahead and get right into it. Starting on page 18 of the Centric White Paper, and understand this is the most recent edition of the white paper. You can find it on the website at centric.com/whitepaper, and you can even download it as a PDF in your preferred language. There are a number of languages available. Technical notes. The Centric protocol defines two classes of tokens, Centric Rise and Centric Swap. The first, Centric Rise, is traded across the Centric payment network and steadily increases in price hourly. The second, Centric Swap, is pegged to Centric Rise and trades freely on cryptocurrency exchanges. Together, the two tokens balance aggregate demand through a symbiotic relationship with autonomous feedback mechanisms. The dynamics of the protocol act to maintain the agreed price of Centric Rise while stabilizing the value of Centric Swap. And as users of the Centric network, if you're a user, you understand that you can move your tokens in and out of the network on demand. You can convert between the two tokens on demand as well. There are no lockups. If you are in fact new to Centric, I highly recommend visiting centric.com/basics and learning about the protocol, and centric.com/metrics, and you can kind of learn about the price blocks that we're talking about right now. Centric Rise CNR. Centric Rise CNR is a deflationary currency traded across the Centric payment network. Each unit of Centric Rise is pegged to trade at an agreed price denominated in USD, which is enforced by the protocol at the point of exchange. And understand that's the exchange between Centric Swap and Centric Rise. The Centric Rise token is governed by the Centric Rise smart contract. Centric Swap CNS. Centric Swap CNS is traded freely on cryptocurrency exchanges at a price dictated by the market. It provides liquidity to the Centric payment network through transactional compatibility to existing cryptocurrency ecosystems. Centric Swap is minted and burnt on demand in exchange for Centric Rise. The Centric Swap token is governed by the Centric Swap smart contract. And again, for users of the Centric network, most users go to the exchanges to acquire Centric Swap CNS. They bring Centric Swap CNS back to the ecosystem to convert to Centric Rise CNR for the hourly gains provided by CNR. And that can be taken care of inside the Centric wallet or at bsc.centricswap.com. And for a full list of Centric exchanges that Centric is currently available on, you can go to centric.com/guide. And the Getting Started Guide has a full list of available exchanges, as well as some swaps and DEXs. It's all right there. The protocol overview. The Centric protocol is governed by the Centric Rise smart contract. And a smart contract, basically, in a nutshell, is a computer program. And it basically dictates what happens in the Centric protocol. The Centric protocol cannot be updated once it's deployed. And again, centric.com/basics, centric.com/metrics, and explorer.centric.com are excellent resources to kind of do a deeper dive into this material. Since protocol inception, at deployment of the Centric protocol, the initial price of CNR was set by the Centric team on the Centric Rise smart contract. 1 billion CNR were minted at the very beginning. That was the total max supply, deflationary supply. What does that mean? That means it's constantly getting more scarce. And as Centric Rise CNR becomes more scarce, the value goes up. 1 billion CNR is minted, the maximum supply, and circulated to the existing network members by the Centric team. 0 CNS is minted. And again, how does CNS end up on the exchanges? It's minted by the Centric smart contract. Centric Rise price. The price of CNR is provided by the Centric Rise smart contract and dictates the current trading price of CNR across the Centric payment network. It is read from immutable price blocks stored on-chain that are published in advance. And again, to see the current price blocks, you can go to centric.com/metrics, go all the way to the bottom, and you can see the price blocks in real time. You can also go to the Explorer. Price blocks. Price blocks store the current, future, and past prices of CNR. Each price block is referenced by a block number that corresponds to a distinct hour in time denoted in hours since Unix epoch. Price blocks can be read by any user. Each price block contains CNR price denominated in USD, monthly price growth rate expressed as a percentage, CNR price change from the previous price block expressed as a percentage, and then created hour denoted in hours since Unix epoch. The immutable protocol dictates that a price block cannot be altered or destroyed once it's created. Again, once the chief economists at Centric calculate the price blocks and hard code it to the chain, it cannot be edited. Block numbers are unique, i.e. only a single price block can exist per hour, and then it's the next price block. And if you go to explorer.centric.com, you can see the current price block number, and hour after hour, that number just changed and always goes up by 1. Price block creation. The creation of the price block is triggered by the Centric team and executed by an immutable formula stored on the Centric Rise smart contract. The immutable formula dictates only a single price block can be created at a time. The creation of a price block cannot be skipped, i.e. the block number of the new price block is equal to the block number of the previous price block plus 1. And the CNR price set in the new price block is increased programmatically using the formula. And I'm not going to read through all the formulas for you, but they are in the Centric Whitepaper. And if you go to page 21 of the most recent version of the Centric Whitepaper, you can see that. And again, that's at centric.com/whitepaper. Flip to page 21 and you can see the formula. Future growth rate. The future growth rate is a network variable expressed as a percentage stored by the protocol. It dictates the future monthly nominal price growth of CNR. The future growth rate is controlled by the Centric team. Token conversion. Any token holder can exchange CNR for CNS and vice versa. The immutable protocol dictates CNS can be minted in exchange for CNR at a fixed rate of 1 CNS equals CNR price over the CNR exchange amount. CNS can be burnt in exchange for CNR at a fixed rate of 1 CNR equals CNS exchange amount over CNR price. And if you were to go to explorer.centric.com or centric.com/metrics, you would see the current price of CNR. And it's around $143 USD, or a good way to understand it is 143 CNS. Okay? And understand those CNR tokens are generating more CNS every single hour. Centric Rise quarantine. When CNR is exchanged for CNS, it is held in quarantine on the Centric Rise smart contract. Conversely, when CNS is exchanged for CNR, CNR is released from quarantine. Network capitalization. The immutable protocol dictates that the network capitalization of quarantine CNR, or CNR price times CNR quarantine, must equal the network capitalization of CNS, or $1 times the CNS supply. Every hour, the price of CNR increases to its next predetermined price, resulting in the network capitalization of CNR held in quarantine to increase. This creates a mismatch, breaking the rule of the protocol. Subsequently, CNR is burnt from the smart contract, equal to the mismatch to the balance to balance the network. And again, I always like to preface this by saying the mismatch of CNR is burnt off from the base supply in quarantine, not from user wallets. None of our user wallets are affected by this correction, if you will, the burn of the mismatch. And what does that mean, burn of the mismatch? Basically, every single hour, and really it's second by second, CNR tokens are generating more CNS, and that's every single hour. And as that's happening, a certain percentage of the CNR from the total supply is burnt off so that the protocol remains balanced. So hence, the mismatch gets burnt off from the base supply in quarantine. There's actually a 3-part blog series on the burn, and to get kind of more insights on how that works, we'll probably do some future videos on this, but you can go to centric.com/blog. And again, there's a 3-part blog series on the burn, and I think it's pretty fascinating. With that, we're going to go ahead and skip to page 26. Why Binance Smart Chain? Just a couple of months ago, we migrated from the Tron blockchain to the Binance Smart Chain, or the BSC, and why did we do it? Centric initially launched on the Ethereum blockchain. Escalating gas fees led to a move to Tron in December of 2018. After reevaluating the competitive blockchain landscape, Centric migrated to Binance Smart Chain BSC in July 2021. And why did we do it? It's just as fast as Tron. It's less expensive, so there's lower fees to move about the chain, and there's more opportunities for partnerships. We already made quite a few connections on the BSC, and it's just the beginning. It's a very innovative and creative place to be, is the Binance Smart Chain. Happy to be there. Binance launched BSC in April of 2020. The reputation of the Binance brand helped the BSC quickly rise to prominence as the 3rd largest blockchain measured by unique active wallets. The smart in the name refers to the blockchain's smart contract compatibility. As a hard fork of Ethereum's Go Ethereum, or Geth protocol, BSC offers compatibility with Ethereum's large ecosystem of dApps and tools. BSC uses a proof of staked authority, or POSA, consensus mechanism, resulting in quicker, cheaper transactions than Ethereum. Okay, so Ethereum, proof of work, Binance Smart Chain, proof of staked authority, and so that obviously the speed is there, but it's also less expensive, and all of those things are attractive to our users as well as to Centric Foundation. Operating on Binance Smart Chain offers projects higher visibility and the potential to attract more highly aligned partnership opportunities and other integrations, and we've seen that to be true, and we've only been there a couple of months. I'm excited about the next several months. A post-USD world. Central banks are tasked with 3 primary goals: stabilize the nation's currency, keep unemployment low, and control inflation. Typically, the United States Federal Reserve has done an adequate job in stabilizing the value of the USD. By pegging Centric and Centric Swap to the USD, the currencies inherit the efforts of the Federal Reserve in stabilizing the USD. Because both tokens are denominated in USD through the same oracle, the benefit from perfect symmetry in the exchange rates. They benefit from perfect symmetry in the exchange rate. But what if Centric gains significant traction, acquiring a significant user base, becoming as prevalent as the large payment networks, and achieving more transaction volume than the USD? Then Centric would present the world with a transparent and stable monetary policy unlike anything they've ever seen that's ever been possible via central banks. Let me read that one more time. What if Centric gains significant traction, acquiring a significant user base, becoming as prevalent as the large payment networks, and achieving more transaction volume than the USD? Then Centric would present the world with a transparent and stable monetary policy unlike anything that's ever been possible via central banks. And just think about that for a second. This is a new way of doing money. What would this mean for the future? Centric Rise would have to participate in a large percentage of the money transfers that occur globally before we can assume that goods will be denominated in Centric Rise. If this were to happen, Centric's peg would have to be updated. We will track the value of Centric Rise through a basket of goods priced in Centric Rise. The Fed does something similar, stabilizing the rate of the USD against the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. In conclusion, imagine that Bitcoin starts competing with the USD in network utility. You would get paid in Bitcoin, but you would pay your mortgage in USD, or perhaps vice versa. This just doesn't make sense given Bitcoin's inherent volatility. In this paper, we introduce Centric Rise and Centric Swap, a price-stable financial framework. We believe that if we can make a digital currency whose purchasing power doesn't fluctuate, people will shift from a mindset in which they hold as little cryptocurrency as possible to a mindset in which they are comfortable holding their savings or revenue in cryptocurrency. We believe this contribution will trigger a new adoption cycle for cryptocurrencies, helping them transition into functional currencies. And with that, we've wrapped up the Centric White Paper in 3 parts. If you didn't get a chance to watch the first 2 parts, I highly recommend going back and reviewing those, or going to centric.com/whitepaper and reading through it at your leisure. And stay connected with Centric. You can stay connected with Centric across social media at Centric Rise on Twitter. And we are also very active on Telegram, Discord, and a number of other platforms. But stay connected with Centric, global currency for the next generation. Take care.